Welcome back to the BCHS Bear Network. I'm your host, Gary Ownbey. We're going to talk about girls basketball today with head coach Jason Reuter of the Bearettes. And he brought a special guest. We all know who she is, but Coach, we'll let you introduce her.
We got Sloan Carpenter over here to my left, my starting point guard.
And a junior.
Junior, yeah. Been a mainstay at the point position. I think she started every game last year except one. Did you have a contact tracing last year? Yeah. And started our freshman year a little unexpectedly. She came in and started our first game in a region semifinals. Loser goes home. So she got through in the fire and did a great job. And she's, luckily for me, I've got her for this year and I got another year with her. So I'm glad to have her.
And it's amazing to think about going back 3 years. You started in the state tournament. How many? You'd only been starting for very few games, you know. So you got sort of thrown in there under fire, as he says. But that was an eye-opening experience, I'm sure, for you, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Well, right now, Coach, you're off to a 6-0 start. You've had 2 district games played. Big one last Friday night against Cleveland High School and the Lady Raiders. On the road last night at Howard. Obviously, Howard's trying into a rebuilding process, but. What do you take away, let's start with Cleveland, what do you take away from that game there? It was not a blowout kind of win. It was a close, tight game. For the most part, won by 8 or 9, 10, 12 points, whatever it was.
14.
49 to 35, I think it was. But your defense really come through, and as always, defense is what you say, you hang your hat on defense. But what did you take away from the Cleveland game from last Friday?
Well, I told Joe Cannon after the game, he interviewed me with the Banner, Cleveland Daily Banner. I said, this is typical. It said, more games are like this than not. Now, we've been in these Cleveland games where we've won by 50. We've had them, but most of the time, the teams in that game play closer to the chest. The gym's packed. Sloan can tell you, being the point guard, we're always talking about being vocal, and you can't hear the coach. Like so it's important that a point guard, when we have certain signals and some of our signals coaches know, but some of them they don't. And what I take away from that is we've got to work more on communication. I'm proud of the win. I told them don't take winning for granted. We win by 14. We go to the locker room. It was a big night. We had Ryan Howard's jersey retiring. We had several ex-players that were here. We brought 6 of them in the locker room and just momentarily talked about each one of them to the girls real quickly. But what I take away from that night, that game's over. It's not just another game. It's Bradley versus Cleveland, crosstown rivals, one of the biggest rivals in the state of Tennessee. And did we play great? No. I'm sure Cleveland feels like they didn't play great. 49 to 35. It looks, you win by 14. I mean, anybody that's watched any basketball knows that could be just we make 3 less shots, they make 3 more, then we may have, we're going down to the nail biter. But our kids, I really liked how they handled the adversity with Hannah Jones being out with foul trouble. She set the entire second quarter and part of the first. We had 10 turnovers. Cleveland had 18. And people watching the game may say, well, you won by 14, but that team, when we play over there at Cleveland later on, if we're not ready to play, we don't have to play great, but we've got to be able to play and be solid, or that team's good enough to beat us. So
you got to hit some free throws, too. We were 6 for 15.
6 for 15, and, there's always going to be variables out there that you can control. Nobody's walking up there to miss that on purpose. But we missed 4 in a row down the stretch. But look, we're a work in progress. The Cleveland game is over, and we don't dwell too much in the past. Just this week, I was walking by our little display case outside in the hall. Have you noticed there's any new newspaper clippings in the case? Have you even looked?
No, I haven't.
There was a picture of you in there. We got stuff in there from 19 championship in the display case.
I've seen it, yeah.
Well, guess what? I love that team, and we won that 19 gold ball, but it's time to move on. So the Cleveland game's over. We got to learn from it. And now we got to move on. If you dwell in the past too much, you're not looking down the road, and we got to get just a little bit better every day.
Well, that's your mantra there. Okay, let's flip it. Last night we had a huge win. I mean, and obviously Howard is not competitive last night, and they're trying to rebuild. Say, what do you take away from a game like that? Besides, you got a lot of play. Everybody played a lot of minutes. I think the least girl played less than at least 6 minutes.
We played all 15 in the first half. All 15 checked in. So Howard's in a tough spot. We just simply have our talent level is on a different level than theirs. I talked to the coach for the game. We didn't know. We knew we were going to win. You just don't know how much. And we tried not. I told her we weren't going to try to embarrass her. We quit pressing in the first quarter, and at the end of the first quarter we quit. We played everybody. We got back and played half-court man. Our kids just took open shots. We didn't double. We didn't trap. We didn't try to embarrass them. I can't ask a kid to come in the game and not play hard.
Right.
But I can ask you to get back here and don't try to get steals and double team and try to embarrass them. And really, no offense to Howard, if you play many games like that, you're going to get worse. You're going to get worse. And I'm sure people like Sloan Carpenter here, who probably played 8, 9, 10 minutes last night, our starters played less than our bench. Then you got the running clock going. So
we started in the third
yeah,
quarter.
I think I looked, Avery Brewer played 13 minutes, but or 13 minutes. I was looking at the box score last night, but the last quarter, the whole second half, the clock ran.
Yeah.
So, you know what? We got down there, we got home, we chalk it up. It's a district win. Howard's new to our district. We got to move on, get ready for Ottawa. So I don't take anything away from that other than I can't really hold you accountable in a game like that because what am I going to say?
It is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah.
Well, Sloan, let me ask you this. I've seen you play every game probably that you played for the most part. I know you looked at the coach, the bench. Do you ever go back? He calls a play, and I figured out a lot of your plays. I ain't going to say them on the radio, and I don't want to tell. We're not going to talk about them here because give away the secrets here. We ain't going to do that. But do you ever go back to him on the bench and say, hey, I think we should run this play or try to do this? I mean, you're the point guard. He's looking at you out there, especially in the Cleveland game like that where you can't hear yourself thinking there so loud. But
I mean, yeah, sometimes I'll make like a recommendation of what we should run, but usually he calls the right play. So
if he calls a play and says, run this where we're going to shoot a 3 point or whatever, I mean, you try your best to get that player set up or get the offense flowing there, get that motion flowing and all that. What would you like to do better for the Bearettes? I mean, if you could say, man, I wish I was better at this or that or whatever.
Definitely communicating. Because it's really loud in the gym, so like I need to let everyone know what we're running.
Well, like you said
louder.
a moment ago, you can't hear him because it's so loud. So you're down there especially when you're on the far end of the first half, away from the bench. It's hard for the coach to get to you without turning around and looking at him, And, you're the quarterback out there, so to speak. And that's what he's counting on you to do that. But how's a team working together right now? We're 6-0, obviously off to a good start.
7-0.
Excuse me, we're 7-0, folks. I missed that game last night. And I'm not going. You guys know this, but Friday night, if we win, that's 100 straight district wins. He don't keep up the race. I do. That's my job. Do you guys ever think about that or talk about it among yourselves or anything? Well, that's good. You don't need to. That's for the media people to talk about there. But going to Ottawa. Now, Coach, what you got coming up next week?
After Ottawa?
Yep. We're home, aren't we?
We got Ray County Tuesday at home.
District game.
Ray County's back in the district. They had a fairly tight one with Cleveland last night.
I saw
41-30. But and then we go Friday to East Hamilton.
Which is no longer in the district.
No longer. So we go there on the, is that the 17th?
Yeah.
Okay.
Friday 17th, right.
So we played down there in a single game. They're going to return that game to us next year. I know we played them in the Thanksgiving Classic, but that really wasn't part of this agreement to go down there. So, and then we don't play until Greenville, the 28th. Now, I'll give those girls a few days off. They get off on Jesus' birthday for sure, Christmas, and probably Christmas Eve. And the rest of it's going to be how we practice and play the rest of this week. They got off 2 days this past weekend, and the older I get, the more I coach. People say, a lot of people use that excuse. Let's take off. You need to rest. You need to get away from it. Sometimes that's just people wanting to go Christmas shopping or people wanting not to come in. But sometimes the best practice is a day off. or 2 days off.
Yeah.
But what I don't like is long stretches off, because maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but I know that basketball is such a rhythm sport. It's rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. And me being a bigger guy and playing, I know that when I got out of rhythm, my play was nowhere what it should have been. When I took long stretches off, I was terrible. So I'm saying that these girls work really hard. They train really hard. They lift year-round. They play year-round. Sloan didn't just play for me. She plays in AAU. So we need a little time off during that break. So we got Ray next week. We got East Ham, and then we play at Greenville on the 28th against a team out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Myers Park. If anybody wants to Google that, I've got one film on them already. All I know about them is they look athletic. They got a girl inside that's about 6'2", and pretty big. And I do know they've won 2 state championships since 2012 in North Carolina.
So it's a good program. Solid
I
program.
would say so, yeah. So
That's the invitation only tournament. They got to be good to be there.
yeah, Greenville is a. Well, I know we're going to do the show again next week, obviously, but we'll talk more about Greenville then. But if you got anything, if you don't have anything planned, we're playing 4 days up there, and I know you followed us up there before, Gary, and you're one of our biggest fans when you're not even broadcasting. We appreciate that, and but you've been up there to Greenville several times, and the people up there come out for basketball.
Oh, it's well attended.
Yeah, and this is not many places do they pay you to come.
Yeah.
And they're paying. I just got a check in the mail 2 days ago from Greenville. So we're looking forward to that. But right now we got to worry about Ottawa,
Yep.
which is what I've seen on film. Ottawa is improved. Okay. Now obviously we're going to be heavily favored, but they have improved, and I know they're going to play a matchup zone, and I'm interested to see how much we improve from Friday night. You just asked me about Friday night.
Yeah.
We got to a slow start because of Cleveland's matchup zone, and we knew it was coming. But sometimes we just judge it on whether the ball goes what?
Through the hole.
When Carsey Weber starts draining those threes, then you say, hey, Bearettes are playing great. When those shots are rimming out, they're not playing so great. So, I don't judge how we play on necessarily where the ball goes in, but it does make everything seem better when that ball goes in the hoop, like Caitlin Leffert nailed 3 threes in the second half.
She sure did. And
Okay,
it's a good time.
And we're doing all talking, but I brought this guest on here to let her talk. Everybody needs to hear this. I've had a lot of players play for me. I've never had anyone. I'm not saying she's the best, but I've never had anyone any better at handling the ball than Sloan Carpenter. She averaged 1 turnover a game last year.
Wow.
Not 1.5, not 1.4, not 1.3. She averaged 1. And to do that, now I know we play some teams that aren't great, but we play a lot of tough teams. And she had 2 against Cleveland, and it seemed like 5 because she just doesn't turn it over. So as long as I got this girl riding with me to the game, I feel pretty good about handling basketball.
Well, Sloan, I tell you, you come from a very athletic family. Your dad, Justin, was quarterback here on the football team. Your brother, your twin brother, Trevor, he says he can smoke you in basketball. Is he leading me on, or is that the case?
He's leading you on.
Leading me on?
Yeah.
So if y'all get in a one-on-one battle in the gym over here, who wins it?
It'd be close.
She'll have less turnovers, I can tell you that.
Yeah. Well, he's a good outside shooter, and
Yeah.
and you are too, and all that. And I guess it come down the dribble drive kind of thing there.
Yeah.
So you think you could smoke him, or?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So we gotta get Trevor on these shows too. Let's get back. Does being twins, are you competitive with each other in other ways?
Just basketball.
Just basketball.
Yes. We
Well.
always one-on-one.
Did y'all ride home together last night?
No.
Okay.
didn't.
All right.
They
But,
don't
yeah,
like
yeah,
They don't like each other that much, No, I'm just kidding.
obviously, I wasn't a twin, and I don't know many people that were, but when you got twins, I'm sure that there's a lot of, there's probably a tally sheet going over here.
Yeah.
How did your team do? How did my team do? The boys played really hard last night, but you're not here. You're going to interview Coach Carpenter later, but, this girl will be our point guard and for the rest of her career, and I'm just wanting her to know that, that Coach Reuter, I'm saying it right here on this show, that I'm awfully proud to coach her. Never complains. This girl never complains. She'll do whatever I ask. She's right. She got to be more vocal. Okay.
Well, she's very soft
But
spoken.
she admitted that. But you know what? There's things I need to do better. I'm not going to say it here on the air, but I can tell you that I'm blessed to have her, and I wouldn't trade her for any point guard in the state.
Learn to yell like Coach does during the game.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you need to do when you communicate out there on the floor. But we'll wrap things up, Coach. We always appreciate you being here on our show each week. Sloan, thanks for stepping in this week. Good luck Friday at Ottawa, and we'll be talking next week, Coach. Just look at the schedule coming up after that.
See
Till
you
next
guys.
time,
Yeah.
it's Gary Ownbey saying God bless and go Bearettes.